It is alive, so I'm not sure like what they want me to do about that. Like I don't know. I do find that a little strange though. But yeah, everybody keep go ahead and tap that screen, y'all, so we can get some conversation, get some people in here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having a little bit of issue over on my laptop. All right, y'all. The flag on my bio is the flag of Haiti. Flag on my bio is the flag of Haiti. All right, y'all. But yeah, go ahead and tap that screen, y'all. Go ahead and tap that screen. I'm about to go ahead and share the phone number. Hopefully we get some conversations here. It's been a little slow lately. I think it's because TikTok wants me to use my phone. This happens sometimes. This does happen sometimes. Whenever I go live, I get a good amount of people to come in, but then all of a sudden it just drops for some reason. Because TikTok wants me to use my phone instead of using the computer. And I never understand why they two guests coming up. All right, Lit. How's it going, Lit?
What's up?
I'm all right. Are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 25, and yeah.
Cool. How do you know that?
Are you like an epistemic question? Well, I have epistemic schemas like rationality, will, and intuition.
That doesn't show
I use those faculties. I know, I wasn't done.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have those faculties. Using those faculties, the proposition is true.
Not necessarily. Actually, yeah. If it's valid and sound, yeah. You can say
true.
that is true. But like, how do we get to a God then?
Yeah, so then you would give an argument. So the argument would just be something like,
actually, I want evidence. I don't care about philosophical arguments. I want evidence.
What do you think evidence is?
Something that's like a fact, something that's demonstrable, repeatable.
Okay, that's not evidence. That's a specific type of empirical evidence.
Which is evidence?
It's kind of like saying, well, it's a kind of evidence, but it's not exhaustive of what evidence is.
What other evidence is there?
There's inductive, there's abductive, amplitive, foundational, coherent, infinite.
How can infinite be evidence?
With respect to infinitism. So yeah, it explains evidence. I'm not an infinitist, but
I don't.
Yeah, they just want to.
But you see, this is the thing. We go down a rabbit hole. I don't care about any of that. Can you actually show me that?
I'm just asking. I'm just answering your questions, dude. You asked me a question to answer it.
All right. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that when we go down all this philosophical mumbo jumbo rabbit holes, we don't get anywhere. How do we actually show that a God exists? Like, for example, if I told you that I grew up in Miami, Florida, I will give you my birth certificate. I will give you my old address. I have yearbooks that shows that I went to a high school in Miami, Florida, et cetera, et cetera. Can we do any of that for a God? Or do I have to say that, or if you ask me from Miami, I'm like, oh, well, you can induce that I'm from Miami just because I'm Haitian. Like, there's Haitians in New York, so that doesn't prove I'm from Miami, right? So like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's why arguments don't really get me anywhere.
Well, you just gave an argument, but so what you did right there is give induction. So when you want to prove some proposition like that you're like a United States citizen or you're from here, you're from there, yeah, you pull data points and those data points either support or they negate the proposition that you're from here or something like that. That's called induction. So we use induction to prove God. So you can take like, okay, I guess I can just give you the argument now, but again, you're leading like if you're saying that this is going down a rabbit hole, I'm answering your questions. You're the one taking me down the rabbit hole, but listen, I'll just give you an argument.
I got you, but this is what I'm saying. When I pulled out those little factoids, like my birth certificate, the yearbook, et cetera, those are things that are tangible and demonstrable that I can show. Yeah, it's induction, but it comes with something actually empirical. When it comes to arguments of God, we never get anything empirical.
Yeah, you do. For example, when you're giving arguments from act and potency or motion, those things are empirically verified because we observe motion.
Yeah, but motion doesn't show that a God exists. It just shows that things move.
That's question begging. But listen,
that's not question
right
begging.
Now I'm not addressing. It is question begging. Do you know what question begging is?
I know what question begging is. What I'm saying is that if you just going to say that things move, therefore God, that would be question begging.
No, I never. Well, it's a good thing I never said that. Okay, so
cool.
Keep track of your points right now.
But
right, hang on, let me respond to this.
No.
Your points. Hang on.
I'm not address it when you're done. Slow down. When you said that you can use things such as motion and stuff like that, but all I said was that motion only shows us that things move. It doesn't get us to a God. That's all I said. Am I right about that or am I wrong about that?
Okay, now you're wrong, and I'm going to address how.
Okay, cool. So
the reason why.
Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Can I address how? Or okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason why I brought that up was because you said, well, listen, the reason why this inductive case works is because you can point to tangible facts. Okay, That's true with respect to the God hypothesis too, because you can point to tangible facts being like motion. That's just an example. But if you're asking me how that actually gets to a God, then yeah, you would have to give an argument or an inductive case as to why these empirical tangible facts lead to some conclusion. So which is perfectly analogous. Hang on, which is perfectly analogous.
I don't need to hang on. Don't preamble. Just do it.
So now I'm going to do it. Okay. So the argument is just simply, if change exists, tangible, then act and potency explains change, tangible. If act and potency explains change, tangible, then form and matter is true, tangible. If form and matter is true, then things have a potency principle, and which is tangible, and an actuating principle, also tangible. If pure act exists and pure potency exists, then God exists. That's the argument.
But the thing is, that's a non sequitur. Like again, because you literally just just to summarize your point, you literally just said motion, God exists. How do you get there? How do you get to the God conclusion? Yes, I understand motion. That implies form and matter, et cetera, et cetera. That implies potency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I get all that, right? I got there. But then you just concluded that a God exists, but you didn't actually show the connection. You're simply saying this is a fact, therefore that. You're not connecting the fact to the God.
Okay, so the reason why this is not a non sequitur is because it follows the MP schema, thus necessarily not being a non sequitur. So that's just kind of a blunder on your end. But the reason why this also follows is because the argument uses two synthetic truths and then two conceptual truths. So they're perfectly connected in that sense.
Do me a favor. I don't need your preamble, bro. You said that.
Can I speak uninterruptedly or no?
You can.
I'm addressing what you said.
No, I know you're just what I said, but I do not want a preamble. I just want you to get there. Don't take off.
I'm in the middle.
Be quiet for a second. Be quiet for a second. Don't take off. Just tell me what you're trying to say. All right. I don't need a plane. Just land. When my point is that all you did was list something as a fact and said therefore God. What I said as a non sequitur is because it doesn't necessarily lead to that. Why don't you give me your argument again? Motion happens, therefore form and matter. And what was the next thing you said?
Okay, listen, you can't charge me with a fallacy and then expect me not to address the fallacy.
Okay,
Like, that's just disingenuous and bad faith.
Okay. So let me actually understand your point then. Maybe I didn't understand it. Motion, form and matter.
Okay, so
then what?
No. Okay, so change exists, then act in potency, which is motion, then form and matter.
Okay.
Then potency principle and actuating principle.
What does that mean?
Then pure act.
Wait, hold on. What does that mean?
Okay. Okay. So this is a conceptual truth. So if you accept the form and matter stuff, you necessarily accept this. But so all it means to say is that what explains something having form and matter are principles of pure potential and principles of pure actuation. That's what that means.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me. What does that actually mean? When like say it in plain language, what does that mean?
It means that, okay, let's put it into plain language then. Okay, so you can take something like matter, like the shit we're made out of. Mm-hmm. That would be pure potential because in and of itself, it doesn't do anything. It's not anything. But what orients its change and what constitutes or what makes it the thing that it is would be an actuating principle, namely form.
Okay, so like the first law of motion then?
No, not like that's a feature of it, but if that helps you understand it, then sure.
All right, cool. How does this get us to a God now? Because yeah, we all have potential energy, we all have kinetic energy, and we all move. Sure. So what?
So if pure potency exists, then pure act also exists. God is pure act.
How do you know? Wait, but the thing is, you're just concluding God without showing that one exists. You just can't say act exists. No, you didn't. You just said act exists, therefore God. How do you know? How do you separate the act from a natural process that we don't understand from a God with a will? How do you separate those two things?
I don't separate them. They work in conjunction.
Okay, so a natural process is a God?
No, natural processes are explained by God.
Okay, how? How do you know that natural process?
Because what best explains change is act and potency.
What best explains change is act and potency.
Yeah.
Well, when you say act and potency, you're saying that things like just moving, like having an action.
No, I'm saying that what explains the change of some state of affairs is the actualization of some potential.
Okay, that's word salad to me, bro. Yeah, you guys speak in plain language. When you say the change of affairs, you're simply saying when you say the change of affairs, you just means that like things change because something willed it to change, like something deliberately made a change. Or you said you just said change of affairs.
That state of affairs.
State of affairs. Okay, so state of affairs. All right, cool. So when you say things change in their state of affairs, are you saying that something deliberately made a change? Like that has to be the case?
Yeah.
Okay. So it has to be the case that things change because something deliberately made a change. How do you explain the water cycle? Because there's nothing deliberate there. It just happens because of physics and chemistry.
Oh, that's easy. So you take 3 hypotheses of change, the 3 main ones. So you take my view of act and potency, which is the actualization of potentials, or you take a view, which is probably the view most atheists take and the one that you're obviously taking, which is called Heraclitean flux. And then the third view is Parmenidean monism. Parmenidean monism is trash. We're not even going to talk about it.
My nigga, what? Listen, I just asked you, how do you actually explain the water cycle? Because the water cycle has nothing deliberate. It's just chemistry and physics. There's no one moving. Hold on, lit. There is no one actuating or moving on the water cycle. It just happens.
Yeah,
we both agree. Hold on, lit. Do we agree that nothing is acting on the water cycle? It's just physics and chemistry. Okay, so you think that there's something deliberately moving, making water evaporate? Like there's a will with water evaporating?
Yep.
So physics is not a thing. Chemistry is not a thing.
It is a thing.
Okay, so physics, chemistry is a thing. You're saying that something is deliberately acting upon physics.
Yep.
How do you show that to be true? And you need demonstrable evidence for that. You can't hold on. No, you need demonstrable evidence for that. You can't do a cute little philosophical argument. Where is this thing that you can show is deliberately acting upon the water? Like, for example, if I say that my phone turns on, right? I can literally do this, and that's demonstrable to show that my phone turns on because you can prove that I exist. What is this thing that you can prove that we can see, that we can test, that deliberately acts upon physics? How do you do that?
Okay, well, I was in the middle of doing it. Then you interrupted me to just ask me the question again that I was not confused on. Okay, so to do it again, also to say something that we can see is just a category error. But anyways, so, okay, so the way that you do it is once again with an abductive case. Okay, so you compare three hypotheses.
No. I don't want to compare three hypotheses. Where is this thing that I can see?
You're gonna listen.
I don't want to. I don't want to be quiet. I don't care about hypotheses. I don't care about hypotheses.
You're just not.
I don't care about hypotheses. How? What is the? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the call-in line now. I'm turning the call-in line, so you guys can go ahead and call in. All right, y'all. Anybody who wants to call in can go ahead and call in. Anybody who wants to call in can go ahead and call in. I appreciate y'all for being here. Call-in line is now open. If you're watching me from, all right, the Deconstruction Junction just did the doubles. It's not what I asked it to do, but yeah, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine, I guess. Okay, cool. That's fine. Whatever. All right, y'all. So, like I said, let me. Oh, shoot, I didn't go live on my Facebook and my Twitch yet. All right, y'all. So, as I said, I appreciate y'all for being here. Go ahead and call in on the call-in line if you like to call in. You live in Miami too? Yeah, I moved from Miami a few maybe like last year or year before I moved from there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I moved from Miami already. Yeah, I moved from Miami already because I don't know, it was just getting too too expensive. All right, y'all. So I appreciate y'all for being here. Once again, why does it do that? That's not what I wanted it to do. I'm not sure why I did that because that's not what I wanted it to do, but it's fine. It's okay. We can go ahead and keep it moving. We can go ahead and keep it moving and grooving. I do appreciate all y'all being here. I do appreciate the comments. If you're watching over from Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate you there. I'm going to put the call-in line into the comments. All right, y'all. So go ahead and call in 786-530-5941. Go ahead and call in and we can have that discussion. If you're watching me over from the Black Atheist YouTube, I'm gonna put the call line right there. And if you're calling in from, if you're watching from my channel Volcy Thoughts over on Facebook, the phone number just went up there as well. Let me put it in here. 305941. All right, y'all. So like I said, 786-530-5941. Go ahead and call in and we can have that discussion. Sorry about that. I was just putting my number in. All right, y'all. So again, anyone here over on the TikTok, you guys can go ahead and call in and we can have that discussion. If you're watching over on everywhere else, over on the Facebook, over on Twitch, over on YouTube, call-in number is up and you can go ahead and call in and we can go ahead and have that discussion. Appreciate you all for being here. Appreciate you all for being here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and invite someone else up. Yeah, it gets hectic in Miami, man. Like, it's usually the traffic annoyed me. You know how Miami is an hour away from Miami. Like the traffic was hella annoying, but up here in Central Florida, it's almost the same thing. Like Orlando is an hour away from Orlando. Like, it's crazy. Awesome. All right, 585. How you doing? Can I get your name, age?
What's up, hey, my brother? Long night away. How you doing?
I'm all right. Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Hold on. Hold on. I got you. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. You here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Okay. My name is Brent. I'm 53 years old, a Democrat for Rochester, New York. This is to MAGA. I think they tough and bad. Let me tell you something, my brother. I'm so happy today. First of all, God bless you. I'm moving to my new apartment next week. God is good. This white man tried to evict me. God bless you to move in my new apartment next week. God is so good. I don't worship Trump. I worship God. I put God first. I'm a hardworking Democrat. I'm a Navy dad. My son finished the military 2 years ago, the United States Navy, protecting MAGA, protecting everybody in this country. He's a retired veteran now at 26 years old. My other one, he's doing good, taking care of responsibilities. My oldest son. I have no police contact. I have no police record, no jail, no parole, no nothing. I have no record, criminal record. I am a registered Democrat. I register. I vote every election. Let me tell you something. He only beat women. He couldn't beat Biden head up. He cheated the last election. Musk bought that election. He's not official a legitimate president. This man complains. He blames Biden for everything. First of all, he put up that racist picture about Obama, President Obama and Michelle. I like pissing off MAGA. I'm a new host myself. I've been a host 6 months. I have my own channel, Prime Minister Chris channel. I call out MAGA all the time on their bull shit. And they got played, my brother. Let me tell you something. I am a 53-year-old black man like you. They got played, brother. They went to all the rallies. All that is in your chat is bots. They're not real. They are algorithms. I know you know that. You a smart black man like me. I was on Facebook. I registered on Facebook 2021-ish, during COVID. And I had battled MAGA so many times on there. They reported me to Zuckerberg. I got kicked off. Zuckerberg booted me off of that Facebook for good. That's why he's going through with Congress. He's lying to Congress. That man hates free speech on his platform. You know what I'm saying? They hate free speech, these platforms. I think I'm glad I got YouTube because I can voice my First Amendment right. Let me tell you, everybody is entitled to First Amendment. I lived in MAGA. I let them have their way. I know they're racist out here. I live in the suburbs. I've been out here 6 years. And you approached me like that, the black stuff. You know what I told them? I said, I'm proud to be a black man. You know what I'm saying? And they try me, but they don't succeed. Because I know what I stand my ground. My parents always told me in life, this to the day, never be afraid of a white man. Yes, I'm talking about color. Yes, I'm racist. I can't stand people down the line, across the board. You got some white haters, some black haters, some Puerto Rican. You got haters of every race. White people are on welfare more than any race in this country. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot put tariffs on no one. He tried that. It got knocked out. I'm so glad that got knocked out today. Right. And young man, I would tell you, you keep fighting. I'm going to keep, you follow me, I'll follow you back. You keep fighting against these white people because they ain't going nowhere and we ain't going nowhere. And nobody's illegal on stolen land. Don't give me the preaching. Nobody's illegal on stolen land, MAGA. Nobody. If that's the case, white people were not here first. The Native American Indians settled this country and our black ancestors built the White House. That's all I got to say. And President Obama, God bless you, brother. Keep fighting the good fight. Okay, bye.
All right. I always appreciate anybody who got love for me. All right. So y'all, unfortunately, I don't know if it was him or the last person, but unfortunately they did hit me with a flag for misinformation. And I don't know what that's about. Don't know what that's about, but someone hit me with a flag for misinformation for some reason. Yeah, it's because it is because I'm speaking out truth, so they want to give me flags. But yeah, it got flagged for misinformation, but that's all right, y'all. Go ahead and keep the likes coming. Go ahead and keep tapping on that screen. Go ahead and keep tapping on that screen, and yeah, it sucks. But yeah, go ahead and keep tapping on that screen, y'all. Go ahead and keep tapping on that screen so we can go ahead and get some more people in here.
Call from
MOT.
All right, how's it going? Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, MOT. I'm a fellow YouTuber. My age is 47. I got a question for you.
Sure.
When you be talking like me, it's kind of a weird place where I'm at. Like, I'm an atheist, but I believe in the message of God. I just don't believe Christians understand God's message because they just can't simply say, I don't have the answer to that. Let me go do some research.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that for certain things? And it's like, because I'm from the South, and it's like, it's so easy to understand what his message is, but everybody keeps trying to convert the message into something else, and that's what messes it up for everyone. I mean, I just wish we just had better Christians like my parents and my grandparents. It's like every time you hear these arguments about, religion, it's just that it's very obvious that there's stuff that we don't know.
Hey, MLT, let me
just now still figuring out.
I got you. MLT, let me get some clarification because you said you're an atheist, but then you said you believe in God's message. By definition, an atheist doesn't believe in a God. So, are you a deist or like an agnostic theist? Or
I said I believe in the message of God, not that I believe in God. God's message is a positive message if people actually followed it. But given that people use religion for everything but what the message is, it's supposed to be a live philosophy to lead to a certain outcome. Most of these people don't have the live philosophy. So I believe in a philosophy if it actually was put to good use, but most of these people don't put the message to use.
I got you. How are you defining God in this in this basically not scenario, but like in this worldview? How are you defining God? Just like love, morals, humanity? Is that how you're defining God?
No, I'm just saying that I would give him the omnipotence and all that kind of other stuff, but it doesn't make any sense how he operates, given that he has all that power.
So you believe that this? Do you believe that? Do you think that a God actually exists? That's what I'm trying to say.
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, but if he did, he wouldn't be existing the way that they would say he would be.
Okay. I now I understand what you're talking about. Okay, now I get it.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to easily do is hold Christians to the message of Jesus, and that's nearly impossible to do.
Okay, now I get what you're saying.
False witness.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I do because I do the same thing. I've done the same thing. Yeah, I mean, so I do get what you mean by that, because there's always Christians who always come up here and say that you didn't truly believe, and I always point out to them that you didn't know I existed before you got on this live. So how can you say I never truly believed? You're basically lying to yourself. I mean, like, you can't say I didn't truly believe something if you never knew who I was. I mean, so it's like it kind of, those type of verses kind of force you to bear false witness. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, but I do get you.
Because what they want is they want the power of God. Like, they don't trust God to do punishment when life is over. They don't want to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
They want to act as, starting role, pole position, God, like right in the now. And I'm like, it doesn't even require all that.
Mhm.
It doesn't require you to try to explain away things that I know people are not qualified to explain. Look, there's the stuff that I don't know. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. I need to do more research. And even if I did read it, doesn't mean I'm going to understand it. I need to go to experts. They can never do that. It's always, I'm a Christian. I know everything. I'm going to bring up big words. And you're just going to have to believe it because I'm the Christian and you ain't. And it's like, that's not the message of God, dude.
Yeah, no,
Not
I
even the
get you.
message of Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do get that.
Yeah. So aside from that,
Mhm.
obviously I am on the left. I live in Colorado. My state works fine.
Mhm.
You know, and I just don't get most of the personnel who think that they build leverage by non-participation.
Mhm.
I don't understand that, and that's the problem that I'm having with Black YouTube in general.
Mhm.
That everybody forgot about Hurricane Katrina. Everybody forgot about and refused to actually be up to date on conservatism as a historical context.
Mhm.
So people are kind of confused about how we got here. I'm like, oligarchy was always the plan. What do you think would have happened if they would have won the Civil War?
Yeah, it
They
would
would
have
have had to
been.
do another war to get rid of that.
Get rid
Yeah.
of that. Yeah, it also was going to be oligarchy because, like, I remember watching a video that says that the American Revolution was about a bunch of rich white guys running the show. Basically, like it was a war to get rid of the rich white guys running the show in order for another group of rich white guys to run the show. You know what I'm saying? So it was always going to be oligarchy in this country. Like this is how majority of societies are kind of set up. You see what I'm saying? So it is.
And most people are happy to be served. I mean, like, I
Mhm.
know your change should be far bigger. The conversation that you have on it, that's why I'm here. Even though I have a larger channel that I don't really use all that much anymore. I do welcome your presence here, and I do welcome your conversations that you're attempting to have here with personnel online. I do welcome it. It is welcome.
Yeah.
It is welcome to have somebody else with some type of sense talking other than so so all right, so how do we kind of get people re-engaged in the actual history of learning about the country to which they live in?
Mhm.
That's kind of where I'm stuck at because people have all of this wanting to get their ish off, but it's like, dude, history is so simple. I don't see how they miss it.
Say that again.
I don't see how they're missing it. How they're missing the repeated cycle of oligarchy. How they're seeing the repeated cycle of using racism to get in power,
Mhm.
lying about all this stuff that they claimed that they wanted the election to be about, and now none of that stuff's about the election. None of it.
Yeah.
They just don't want a woman in charge.
Yeah.
They're
Basically.
willing to burn because of it. I found that wild.
Yeah, they were willing to let the country go to absolute shit rather than vote for a woman, which is kind of crazy to me. But MLT, I do appreciate you. I'm gonna try to free up the line for us to get another call to get some opposition in here and
All right, cool,
see what we can do. But I do appreciate you though, bro. All right,
man.
all right, have a
All
good
right, man.
one.
Yeah, man.
All right, y'all. The number is still up. If you're over on TikTok and you disagree with what I have on the board, go ahead. Like I said, click on tap that screen so we can go ahead and get some people in here. It's been a bit slow for like the past week or so. So I think maybe next week the lives will probably be more off my phone than it would be on the computer.
Call from
I think there was something wrong there. All right, y'all. But yeah, he pocket out probably. But yeah, go ahead and keep tapping that screen, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and try to get some more people in here. We're gonna try to get some more debates. Like I said, if you're watching anywhere else, if you're watching over on Facebook, if you're watching over on Twitch, if you're watching over on YouTube, and you come into this live and you see something that you disagree with, go ahead and call the number on the screen. Or if you're on TikTok, you can go ahead and hit that guest request button, and we can go ahead and have that discussion. All right, y'all. We just chilling now. See what's good. Let me read some of these comments. He's paying the debt back with tariffs. He's trying to get rid of illegal immigrants that are such a social and economic drain on citizens. Yeah. So Kojo, go ahead and call in, Kojo. Go ahead and call in, and then we could definitely talk about that. Go ahead and call in, Kojo, and we could definitely talk about that because the deficit has actually increased. We could definitely talk about those type of things. And when it comes to illegal immigrants, they're actually immigration is actually a net benefit to the United States, and that's been shown over and over again. So we're gonna wait for Kojo to call in. Let's see if they will. All right, y'all. We're just gonna go ahead and wait for. Not a problem, man. Of tomorrow, we're just gonna go ahead and wait for anyone to call in or any guest here, y'all. Tap the screen, y'all. Tap the screen. Let's try to get to 5,000 likes within the next 5 minutes. I know we can do it. Let's try to go ahead and do that. If we can do that, I'll really appreciate it. If we get to about 5,000 likes within the next couple of minutes. If we get to the next about 5,000 likes in the next couple of minutes over here on the Facebook, I said the Facebook, the YouTube, I will appreciate that. Let me go ahead and tag my followers over on the Facebook. See if those people are called. We'll go ahead and come on in and have that discussion. Tap that screen, y'all. Tap that screen, y'all. If you're watching me on Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate you. Shout out to you there. If you're watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition, I appreciate you there. And if you're watching me on Volcy Thoughts, I appreciate you there as well. Kojo, once again, call in, please. Call in. I'm not going to go back and forth with you in the comments. The number is right here. Right here. You see it, right? 786-530-5941. Just go ahead and call in. Hey, y'all, from now on, just tell Kojo call in until they actually do it. Because this is the thing that they do, right? They'll make a comment in the comment thread, and then they just expect us to go back and forth with them and waste our time instead of actually having a discussion with a live person. So let's not waste time with them. Just say call in. Just challenge them to call in. You know what I mean? Because for some reason they don't like to. Once again, shout out to everybody who's watching me everywhere. Keep tapping that screen, y'all. Keep tapping that screen so we can have a discussion. Share the live, y'all. Share the live out. All right, y'all. Share this live out. We're just gonna go ahead and wait for the person who was arguing the live over there, Kojo. All right, 702. How's it going, 702? Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, this is Josh from Nevada. I'm 37.
How's it going, Josh? What did you want to talk about?
You can hear me? Am I speaking to you live?
Yeah.
Hey, do you play video games?
I haven't played in a while.
No, I was going to ask you, what do you think about the new GTA 6 game that's coming out?
It's gonna be fire. I'm definitely gonna get that because it's based in a city that I'm from. So I definitely gotta go get it.
Yeah, but you don't think the game is going to be like promoting violent? A lot of younger people are going to be playing it, and you know.
I mean, yeah, the game is violent, but like you gotta know your child, right? This has already been like researched like extensively, and video games don't cause violence. So that's something that I care about.
If you think about all the shootings happening and all this stuff that's happening, you don't think that's motivated by video games?
No.
And the culture?
No.
Music, pop culture, movies?
No.
Why not?
Because there's no evidence that's the case. The evidence that we have that motivates or causes these things are more socioeconomic and mental health issues, not pop culture.
I mean, there's a lot of people go through mental health issues and they don't go around hurting other people.
Right. So
not everyone who does it.
Right. So it's a mix of things, right? It's not just only going to be socioeconomics. It's not going to be mental health. It's going to be a combination of factors.
I have to disagree because when a person say they listen to music, an angry song, it's going to make them feel angry. If they're listening to a love song, they're going to feel like they're in love. If they're listening to a sad song, they're going to get emotional. Just like video games, you know. I feel that they also teach, you know, you can learn good and bad. They could also teach violence, especially a game like Grand Theft Auto and shooting in games. I feel like that's I'm not blaming just video games alone. I'm blaming the whole culture.
But what I'm saying is
the problem.
But what I'm saying is that when this was actually researched into if video games are causing this type of violence, because this was researched back in the early 2000s and it's been researched since. When it comes back to when it goes all the way back to the early 2000s, when they researched to see if these video games are connected to any type of violence, they found no, that it wasn't. The same thing with movies, violence and those type of issues and crime issues are more connected to health issues, surroundings, environment. That's what it's mostly connected to. People aren't going out shooting someone because they heard a Tupac record. You know what I'm saying? I've listened to Tupac ever since I was 7 years old.
I have to disagree.
I'm not.
With
hold
you.
on. I've listened to Tupac since I was 7 years old and never committed a crime. Right? That's anecdotal, but I've also grew up in an environment that didn't encourage that. So like, if environment didn't have anything to do with it, it was all just music, you would have a whole bunch of suburban white boys going out shooting people because they listen to Lil Wayne. That doesn't happen. So it's if that there's a disconnect with what you're saying, right?
Do you remember the Columbine shooting when those kids, they were playing games like Doom and that time, the shooting games, and they were inspired, by video game, man.
And they were also watching The Matrix.
I'm not blaming.
They also watched The Matrix, and they literally styled themselves after Neo. Are you going to say that The Matrix caused the Columbine shooting? That's crazy.
Well, I'm not. It's not just video games. The music, the pop culture, the Hollywood movies, all of that. That's messing up children's head. You know what I'm saying?
But there's no data to show that's the case, bro. You're just assuming that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to say, man. You have a great day. Take care.
I probably appreciate you. All right. Romo, I think your name is Romo. Sorry, I had to mute you real quick because your background was loud. All right, Romo, how's it going, Romo? Can I get your name, age, and did you want to talk about what I had on the board?
Yeah, you said my name.
Well, I'll call you Romo, but can I get your age and at least if you're at least over 18, and did you want to talk about something I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm over 18 and I voted for Trump yeah, I wanted to discuss something you have on the prompt.
All right, sure. You said you voted for Trump. Is that what you want to talk about?
Well, your prompt says why should I support Trump?
Yeah, why should I support
Trump? Talk about why I voted for Trump?
Well, you can talk about why you voted for Trump, but like, why do you think I should support him?
Well, I think he's doing good in certain areas. I think so far we've avoided war with Iran. Very important. I think that would be disastrous for us. So, He's taking a maximalist pressure campaign towards Iran, where he's trying to get a better deal than the one we had now, where we allowed some enrichment in Natanz and Fordo, which is what the Obama administration negotiated. What we're looking for now is zero enrichment, curbs to their ballistic missile program, and their support for organizations we deem to be T groups. Which, if we can get that deal, that would be really good for our interest in the area, because they've been trying to kind of kick us out of the area, Iranians. So that would be good.
Okay,
and we should support that.
Okay, yeah, no, number one, we shouldn't be messing with that area at all. The entire reason why the Ayatollah exists is because we messed with that area. Like, we wouldn't be going through any of this if the CIA didn't overthrow them in 1954. So we're still doing the same things that we did 60 years ago, and it doesn't work. It always leads to more extremism. So that's not something that I'm going to support. It's not going to be something I'm going to support with any president, as a matter of fact. Our interventions in the Middle East have always gone bad. That's number one. But number two, the deal that we had under Obama wasn't even a bad one, because we allowed some enrichment for peaceful process, for peaceful things, right? Like nuclear power and stuff like that. There is no evidence that they were giving it to Hezbollah. None at all. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, like, that deal that Obama made was applauded by literally the entire planet, because everybody was trying to get that done. Everybody was trying to get Iran to only enrich their uranium in order to have nuclear power and nothing else. They committed to that, and international observers and not only that, they agreed to have international observers go into Iran and make sure that it was happening. And guess what? Every single time they said that, yes, Iran is following the deal. So Obama got a landmark deal that no one else was able to do, and then Trump blew it up. So now we're in this stage right now where Iran has no reason to trust us at all. And yeah, sure, I agree with you. A war with them would be bad, right? But at this point, they have no reason to trust that we're not gonna pull back on our word, and war could still happen because of that. Because like if Trump just threatens war in order for them to follow the deal, or follow any deal he wants, they're just gonna push back against it, right? And yeah, sure, we can just glass Iran. That's all gonna work. We can just glass them, but still, that will still be war and thousands of people dead for no reason. He just should have kept the deal that Obama had in place, because it wasn't even a bad one. Enrichment for their own nuclear power, their own nuclear like energy, that's not a problem for me, and I don't know why that's a problem for anybody else. And we should have let them do whatever they would like to do. Like, what I would say is that we need to leave people alone. America shouldn't have any type of interest for them to follow us. Why do we need that? We don't need that. They should follow their own interest in order for them to better themselves and their own nation and everything like that. Now, if their interest conflicts with like basically causing a war with us or hurting us, then yeah, we should address that, right? I don't disagree. I don't think anybody disagrees. But that's not what we're doing. We're going in there for them to have interest for us, for our benefit, and not necessarily for theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I agree with you in certain respects. I think the real reason we're there is because Israel. I mean, that's like I feel the elephant in the room. I mean, the only reason we even have an issue with Iran is that they are an enemy of Israel, and we're backing Israel, and because Israel wants us to attack them, that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
against the idea of us going to war with Iran.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh. So yeah, I'm very against going to war with Iran, but I'm okay with that's putting aircraft carriers there, threatening them, basically trying to extort a better deal than the one we had now.
But the deal that we had before, the thing, Romo, is that the deal we had before was perfect. Trump just nixed it for no reason because it had Obama's name on it. That's the only reason he nixed it, because you had a bunch of conservative morons who didn't like a black guy getting the deal, and therefore he nixed it.
Yeah, but you're missing I think I agree with you, but you're missing the real reason they were doing that. It's because of Israel.
Yeah, fuck Israel.
We did that.
Correct. So. Fuck Israel. Why are we following them?
Well, fuck Israel too then.
Yeah.
I'm on the right, but I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's the only reason we're doing this for. So.
Right, exactly. Which is a problem. That's not a reason for me to support them. That makes it even worse.
Well, I support him to the extent that we don't. If we can get a better deal, obviously, if he fails in getting a better deal, or he goes back to the first one with like minimal improvement, that was a whole waste of time for nothing. But at this point, I mean, we should support that he's successful. I mean, it would be better for us. I mean, at this point, I'm saying to get a better deal. I mean, I don't. In a way, I feel Iran's gotten even stronger than it was before because it has now like basically a statelet with the Houthis. I mean, we bombed them and we kind of did a ceasefire with them because we really couldn't stop them from shooting missiles at ships.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm hoping we get a better deal. I guess that's my thing. I'm hoping we get a better deal. I feel you should support him to get a better deal. But if he doesn't get a better deal, then that's not America's interest that he fail at that. It's in America's interest that he's successful.
Right. So it's in America's best interest that he's successful in getting a deal of non-nuclear proliferation with Iran. I could even agree with that. Right. That would be a good thing if we get a deal for them to not make any more to not make more nuclear weapons, because I think that's good for the world. I think we all should need to use the nuclear capabilities that we have in order to have, that basically renewable energy. We shouldn't be using it for, weapons essentially. So I would agree with that. That would be better for the world. But I'll also say that needs to be worldwide. We need to lessen our nuclear weapons capability. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but that's a very lofty goal because, of course, it's like the prisoner's dilemma. Like. How can you be sure the other guy's not gonna
do it?
Gonna do it. So when whoever has it now is not gonna give it up because they're gonna be like, well, how do I know you're not gonna build one on your own?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the mountain or something.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is why I don't support Trump is because, number one, he's a racist. He's already proven that. But the second reason is that we've seen like throughout his presidency, he doesn't actually know what he's doing, especially when it comes to the tariffs. We see that not only were they illegal, but they affected our economy, and he doesn't seem to know what tariffs even are. You see what I'm saying? So if he doesn't know what he's doing, he's just making haphazard, chaotic decisions. And now that he's a racist, there's no reason for me to support him.
Well, I think you could still support him because, again, it's in our national interest. But even putting that to the side, we've had, Lyndon B. Johnson. He was racist as hell. We've had him on audio using the N-word often. In fact, one of the things he said is that he was going to have, I'm not going to use the word, but he said, I'm going to have the N-words voting Democratic for the next 200 years if I pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So he was extremely racist, but did an amazing thing for the Black community by restoring their voting, especially in the South, restoring the voting rights, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. All these, monumental things that he did to improve the lives of every African American in the country, and yet he was racist. As
correct,
probably one of the more racist presidents we ever had. So I don't think that's disqualifying. He met with Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King had a lot of nice things to say about him.
So Lyndon B. Johnson.
I don't think racism doesn't necessarily means you can't do great things for the.
Right. So like Lyndon B. Johnson was racist, right? But he also like passed the Civil Rights Act, which is all good and well. Like you can applaud that. Trump is a racist and supports policies or supports cutting back on policies that would benefit Black America, which actually damages us. Like, for example, when he started cracking down on DEI in federal departments, we now have I think it's close to about 400 to 500,000 black women who lost their jobs in the federal government. So that doesn't show to me that he's doing something that's going to benefit us.
Yeah, I mean, that's one instance. I mean, I don't know if that was done on purpose. I mean, it's maybe it just happened. I mean, I don't know if any studies have gone into the why certain people were fired and why not. I mean, it could just be that, there might be a non-racial reason for that, but I don't know. I really couldn't speak on that.
Well, the number one employer of Black people in America is the federal government. A lot of us work for the federal government, right? So when he starts cracking down on federal staff and everything like that, that's going to affect Black people. Like just period. Because our number one employer, I think, is the post office. Yeah, I mean the post office, and I think other federal agencies after that. So the moment he starts just firing people left and right, just to not have a lot of federal employees, that's gonna have an effect on us. But the that's well, yeah, that as basically that's number one. But the second thing is that when he started doing the entire his entire crackdown on DEI, he specifically put
Why?
Hey, you gotta be quiet. He specifically said that there are certain words that can't be on federal documents, and black man, black woman, systemic racism, those things were part of it, right?
Why?
So, hey, I'm gonna need you to be quiet. I'm gonna drop you. So those were put on the those were some of the decisions that he made, right? You don't think that saying that federal employees cannot talk about systemic racism, you don't think that's an issue there?
I guess, I mean, it sounds like what you're saying is, it sounds, if I'm hearing you correctly, is you feel that these individuals, I mean, he's making decisions based on race? Yes.
He has he's done it before.
Right, but I mean, it sounds like you're seeing people being like a lot of black people that are in federal government, that you admit the federal government is probably the number one employer in the country. It could be, I'm not sure. I think it is. But and because a lot of black people got laid off from their job, you're reading a racial intent into that. I mean, I don't know how without more. I mean, are the number of black people that were fired proportional to the amount that are in the workforce? I mean, do we know anything about that, or are you just going off the gross number?
Well, this is just the gross number so far, but it does show that his policies has a negative effect on black employees.
Right, but I mean, if that number represents 1% of blacks, and then you compare that to white people, and they were laid off at 5% clip, how can you say that's racist? I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying, without knowing those numbers, how can we make a judgment on that?
Right, we will have to look more into it. I do understand that, right? I agree with that. But Trump does have a history of racism.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've had racist presidents. We'll continue to have racist presidents probably. That still has led to us becoming. I still think we're the most powerful country in the world, but who knows? But still led us to become the most powerful country at one point. And and yet we've had all these racist people in our past. We've had slavery. We had a war to eradicate, to end it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not being racist in and of itself, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that the country can't go towards more freedom. So you know what I'm saying? Like, if racism,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
worse outcomes for black people.
I got you. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I'm sorry. Let me just line up with what you're trying to say here. I understand that we're going to have racist presidents, right? My issue is that what do their policies actually do, and how do they affect us? How do they negatively or positively affect the black community? We know that LBJ was a racist, but he had policies that were positives for the black community, right? Now we know, now we know nowadays that Reagan was a racist. A lot of his policies were negative for the black community. So that's the way we have to look at it, right? When we look at Trump, are his policies a net positive or a net negative for the black community?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to get into like a numbers discussion, which I am not prepared to take on because I just don't know the numbers, so I wouldn't be able to engage in that.
All right.
I mean, to me, what matters is proportionality, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that would, I think, be a better measure than saying, okay, this gross number. I mean, well, we don't even know what number we're comparing it to. You know what I'm saying?
How about the unemployment rate?
Again, yeah, I mean, that gets. I mean, employment are complicated because it's obviously driven by a number of factors, not just a president. I mean, it's determined by local conditions, state conditions, policy. I mean, it gets very complicated. And honestly, I don't do very well at economic arguments, not just because I'm not very well versed in economics, but based on the economy debates I've heard, they're just like all over the place. Someone's mentioning some study from the Fed, and somebody mentioned some other study. You know what I'm saying? So to me, they're confusing. So I honestly, I wouldn't be able to engage in that debate.
All right, sure. That's not a problem. So, but if we just get down to the wire, I'm not gonna support someone who's who posts black people as monkeys. I'm not gonna do that. I have no reason to support that type of person and say that my people eat dogs. Like, why would I support someone like that?
Yeah, okay. I obviously don't. I mean, I support him, but I really cannot believe that he's not aware that the baggage that image comes with. So, will I say it's racist? Yeah. I mean, again, just because he's racist doesn't mean he can't do good things for the black community. But I mean, you have it. I mean, if that's your basis, then yeah, I mean, you have a decent basis to not want to support him, because sure, if you feel he really is like doesn't like black people and he's racist in that way, and you feel he's out to hurt you, then I can understand why. And if that you're using that as your like nail in the coffin as to why you don't want to support him, then I mean, I can understand your feeling about it. Sure.
All right, cool. You have anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks for the chat.
I don't appreciate you. All right, guys, keep liking the live and keep sharing. Keep liking the live, keep sharing. All right, 963. I'm gonna go ahead and answer the phone, but I gotta put you on hold.
Joe.
All right, Joe, how's it going, Joe? I'm gonna put you on hold for a second because I do got another guest on my TikTok. Give me one moment, all right? Appreciate you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. We have Godis. Godis, how's it going? You can go ahead and oh, my bad. Get off mute right now. I was sorry about that. I made your mistake. Godis, how's it going? Are you at least 18? And did you want to talk about number 1 or number 2 or both?
Yeah, I'm 21, and let's start with 2.
All right, sure. Let's talk about number 2. Why should I believe in a God?
Yeah, the impossibility contrary, especially when it comes to grounding things like logic, morality, etc.
Okay, this again. When you say the impossibility of the contract, possibility of the contrary, you're saying that God can't fail to exist?
No, the impossibility of grounding certain things like logic or morality without such.
What does that mean, grounding certain things? What does that mean?
Yeah, giving a non-contingent basis for you. And I'm not trying to be too Filbury. Like, I'll actually try to keep this good faith.
Hold on. You said non-contingent. Say that again.
Grounding is basic. I mean, it's pretty much synonymous with justification, but it's more giving a non-contingent basis for something. So explaining why something exists without it coming from another cause, basically.
But
does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying, but like, that would contradict your position, because if you say that, logic has to be grounded in something, and you said that something has to be God, wouldn't that make logic then contingent?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
Right. So
that's right. So I'm saying that you cannot ground logic unless you can show me how. I mean, I'm not going to try to switch the burden too much, but do you have a good grounding or good justification for your use of logic?
Do I have a justification for logic?
Yeah. Why does it exist, and how do we access it? Does it, like, do you believe that logic is real, or is it just, do you think it's just a description?
Logic is just a description. We look out in the universe, and we look out in nature, and we describe certain things that we see. That's pretty much it.
So you don't think that's prescriptive? You don't think that the universe has to follow the laws of logic? Do you think it could be otherwise?
I don't know if it could be otherwise.
Doesn't that sound like it has to follow it?
Right. It has to follow it, because like it's not that it has to follow it. It's just that this is how the universe works. It's not having to do one thing or the other. It's just that is how we see it works. That's it.
Okay, but if logic is just descriptive, then what's it describing?
The universe is describing nature. It's describing what we see. This is just what we see the universe does. It's not implying it has to do this or has to do something else or anything like that. It's just, this is what we see it does. And that's it.
Okay, great. So to kind of tie this in, are you basically grounding it in the human mind because we are the ones using it as a descriptor?
I'm not sure you can say grounded in the human mind because logic, the laws of logic are just simply a description of the universe. It's not dependent on us. Like they would exist without existence or non-existence. Like for example, the first law, right? Like things can't exist and not exist at the same time. That would still be the case even if we didn't exist, right?
Yeah, I would say that. So like the reason I'm trying to tie this down is because some atheists, and I'm assuming you are, obviously don't believe that would be the case. So that's why it's kind of hard to tie it down. I'm not trying to straw man you or something like that.
Now, right, I would say the language for it one exists, right? Like when we say things can exist and exist at the same time. I'm using the English language. That one exists, but the entire fact of the universe that things not existing and existing at the same time, not being an actual thing, that would still be there. It's just our language to describe that one exists.
Yeah, 100%. So if it would exist without humans, then obviously you're not going to ground it in humans. That would be silly. So what's your justification for us knowing and accessing?
We're
like,
conscious beings.
Do you believe? You said what?
We're just conscious beings.
Okay.
Yeah, because you said, how do we know and access it? Is because we're conscious beings. So
we have finite minds, right?
Yeah, we have finite minds.
Then how can we access universal and material things like that?
What do you mean?
How can something finite access universals?
How can something finite access universals?
Well, would you agree that logic is a universal, meaning it's always true?
As far as we see, yeah, it's always true.
Yeah. So can you show me how, like, once again, a finite contingent being could access something like this, so it's universal, necessary, and also immaterial? Because
again, it's something that we're describing how the universe works. That's all it is. When you say we're accessing it, right, we're not grabbing logic and bringing it here, right? We're not doing that. We're just seeing what the universe does. It's a description. Like for example, this is black, or I'm sorry, this is white. I'm not accessing white. I'm just describing a phenomenon. That's it.
Right, but experiencing white is contingent on your senses.
Correct.
Logic is not. Once you, like you said, it's not contingent on humans existing at all. So that I don't really see that as very analogous.
Right, but because your question was how are we accessing logic? We're not accessing logic. We're just describing what we see on the universe. That's all we're doing.
Yo.
Logic is a descriptor of what the universe is doing. That's all it is. We're not accessing anything. Just like it is analogous because again, this is a description, right? This is white, but that's just a description. I'm not accessing the color white. It's just a description of a phenomenon that we see. Same with logic.
Okay, great. I can just grant you that it's a description for the sake of argument, but I don't think a description alone is necessarily a grounding or justification, which is mainly what I'm looking for. And once again, this is actually kind of a burden shift on my part, but I'm trying to be good faith, and it's fairly interesting. You're not necessarily forced to engage if we're taking this as a formal debate, but.
Okay. So yeah, when it comes to like the laws of logic, right? Like I don't see it necessarily to need to be like grounded in God. Like why would that need to be the case?
Yo, that's kind of what I'm showing you, and once again, this isn't necessarily the way to do it, but I'm just saying my argument would be because logic is something that's universal, immaterial, and necessary. It requires a universal mind, i.e. God, or some form of a first mover. This argument alone wouldn't necessarily point you towards one certain religion, but it would indicate you towards a first mover or a godlike being.
Why won't it point me to a natural process that I don't understand yet?
Because logic is not material, it's not natural. It's immaterial, it'd be metaphysical.
But it's just a description of the universe.
That's your claim, and I'm willing to grant that for the sake of this argument. But that, once again, describing something doesn't ground or give a justification for believing in it.
Describing something doesn't give justification for believing in it. That's the thing. I don't think we necessarily need to believe in logic, because it's just what the universe does. We just gotta accept it as a brute fact of the universe.
Yeah, but then you're always gonna be considered acting illogical or unjustifiable if you can't give an account for something that you're using.
When you say give an account for something that I'm using, what does that mean?
It's just synonymous with justification. You like giving a justification for your use of a thing.
I have to justify logic in order for me to use logic?
For it to be sound. I'm not saying that like you can't literally, because you're using logic right now with in the conversation, but you don't have any justification for this.
Yeah, the justification is that this is a brute fact of our universe, and we never seen it work anywhere else.
That's just an assertion, though. You got to understand that. Like, that may be true, but that doesn't tell me anything. If I just said God was a brute fact, that's not an argument, is it?
Right. It's not an argument, because like I'll have to try to understand what you mean by God, like some sort of disembodied mind outside of space and time. I'll have to actually, we need evidence for that. But if it's just like we're saying that, hey, things can't exist and not exist at the same time, that's a hard stop. There's nothing else we can do there.
Right, but anytime you say something's just a brute fact, that's like you even just said, it's not an argument.
All right, so look, can we show the opposite can be true as well, that things can exist and not exist at the same time?
No, you can't do that. No.
Right, we can't do that. So we're at a hard stop. It's a brute fact of the universe.
Right, but once again, you're just describing how these laws work. You're not giving any like metaphysical justification for your use of it. Like,
why would I need one?
I guess I'm asking is like, why you think we have this ability or this faculty?
Give me a second.
Yeah, go.
I'm definitely not answering that one. I know who that is. I'm definitely not answering that one. But but what I'm saying is, crap. I forgot where I was. When you said I'm not giving any metaphysical reason for why logic exists, what we need
for our ability to use it. Like, why do we have this faculty? Why? Once again, I'm just circling back here. Why can a finite mind access universals? Because
like we're conscious beings, right? Like we're thinking. We can think abstractly for whatever reason. It could be consciousness or what. Because of our consciousness, we have a way to think abstractly.
Can you show me the jump from us being conscious to us being able to access universals? I just don't see it as very intuitive. I don't see that jump you're making. You said it's because we're conscious, but why?
Why are we conscious?
No, why is us being conscious give us access to universals? I don't see that jump.
When you say give us access to universals, I'm not understanding what that means. Because like at the end of the day, what you're saying is universals is again just a description of the universe. So because human beings came up with language, and because we can think abstractly and stuff like that, we came up with a language on how to describe what we're seeing. We're not really accessing anything. We just see, okay, this is a phenomenon in the universe. This is how we're going to describe it. We didn't access anything.
Well, we're accessing. It's more of a epistemological question. How are we accessing these as truth claims? Because obviously we're both going to agree that logic is a truth claim.
Like, how do we know what we know?
Right. How do we have access to this? Because it doesn't seem to make sense once again that a finite mind can access something that's unchanging, necessary, and universal.
Maybe I'm not understanding the way that you're asking the question, because when you say accessing, I'm thinking like the way that I'm thinking is like, when I walk into my house, I'm accessing my house. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm thinking of it, right? So when you say how do we access these universals, I'm thinking like we're not accessing anything. We're just describing what we see. Like that's not an access. You just see something and we have a language to describe it. And that's really it. So like maybe I'm not understanding the way that you're asking the question. It's
yeah. How do we know? When I say access, I'm referring to like how we know universal truths. How do we recognize them? How do we apply them? How are we bound by them? That's kind of what I mean by access.
Oh, how do we know universal truth? We don't.
We don't know that they're true.
Well, universal truths?
Yeah.
We don't know universal truths.
You don't believe that anyone could know a universal truth?
No, I don't think we can. What do you think a universal truth is?
Well, hold on. I just asked you a question. Do you believe that anyone could know a universal truth?
That depends on what you think a universal truth is.
In your view?
In my view, something that's absolutely 100% true anywhere out in the universe, no matter where you go. But like, we can't access the entire universe. So,
are you saying that no one could do that?
That no one? No, I'm saying at our point in our evolution right now, we can't access every single point in the universe. So there's no way to know.
Aren't you right now making a universal claim about what humans can and can't do?
No, I'm saying at this point in our evolution, we cannot access the entire universe. That's just a fact, bro.
Is that not a universal claim about us right now?
Is that?
That's literally you're making a universal claim about us.
Okay. Now I understand what you mean.
That's a contradiction. Is it like? Can you see what I'm saying here? You're literally making a universal claim that we can't access.
Okay. So when you say universal truth, you just mean a fact of reality. That's what you mean?
No. Well, yeah, it's something that would be true everywhere and always.
Something that would be true everywhere and always. Yeah, at this point of our evolution, it's true everywhere and always that we can't access the rest of the universe. Yeah, so that's a universal. That's what I was trying to ask you. What do you say? What do you think a universal truth is? That's what I was trying to ask you. Yeah. Okay. So cool. Yeah. So that right. So if that's what you describe as universal truth, like the moon exists, then yeah, we can say what a universal truth is. Sure. If it's something like that, just like a proof factor of reality.
What did you what are you referring to then when you said that we can't access these?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to.
What were you referring to when you once again you said that right now we can't. What were you referring to that we can't do?
Oh, well, we can't go to the Andromeda galaxy. Like we don't have that ability, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So yeah, that's what I mean. Something like that. Something that's something that's physically constrained, or something that can be physically shown. Yeah, I mean something that's empirical.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So those can be universal. We can do that. But if I'm making a claim that dragons don't exist, I've never been to the Andromeda galaxy. Maybe a dragon exists there, right? So maybe they evolve different ways.
So then are you going to say, but then hold on. Let's be careful here, because you already said that, at least I think you said this, that the laws of logic are universal, but you haven't been everywhere. So this is what I'm getting at. We're finite beings. How do you know it's true everywhere?
I guess we don't. It's just that what we see in our universe as of right now, but we can't show any other way. Like we can't show something exists and not exist at the same time. We can't do that right now. So at this point of our lives, like that's why I said that the laws of logic are descriptive. You know what I mean? Like it could be possible, like maybe in 7 billion years to whatever humans evolve into, we discover another part of the galaxy or another part of the universe where the law of identity doesn't exist anymore, right? That could be true in 7 billion years, but at this point of our lives, this is what we're seeing. So that's why I'm saying that it's a descriptive thing, not really something that's prescriptive that we get. All right, so Godis, our time is up a little bit. You want to come back later or another time?
Let me just make
sure.
quick closing. Yeah, so to me, this just seems like a self-defeater. If you're saying that we can't know logic is universally true, I think you're literally making a universal claim when you do so. And that's the problem I see with this view. Once again, this doesn't disprove atheism when you say that. I just don't think that. You're just talking with what you got in your head, so I respect that.
Cool.
I think this is something you should look into a little more. Not saying like I cooked you or anything. Once again, this was a great conversation.
All right, cool. All right, Ron, how's it going, Ron? Are you at least 18?
Well,
And
shit,
what
I
did you
am
want to talk
not
about?
18, but I could have a good reasoning. I've went ahead, but I'm not 18. But
All right, y'all. So you have to be 18 and over to join. I do appreciate everybody here. Whoever is Black MAGA and the comment, his name is Game Profit. Game Profit, Black MAGA. Go ahead and come on up. All right. I said, come on up. Go ahead and call the number, and we can go ahead and talk about that. Call the number, and we can go ahead and talk about why, as Black people or as a Black person, you support MAGA.
Call from.
All right, how's it going? Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Hi, my name is Mike. I'm 29. I actually talked to you, I think it was a week or two ago. We were talking about healthcare. I just remember the conversation. It was a good one.
Yeah, sure.
But I wanted to I just piggyback off the. I kind of came in on the tail end of the last conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys were talking about the belief in God in its entirety, or I just want to ask: do you believe in absolute truth, or any absolute morality of any kind, or
like objective morality?
Yeah, any kind of objective morality, or any objective truth to, if you hold that belief or not.
I think morals are largely subjective, but we can make objective observations.
Okay. Okay, so what do you mean by an objective observation, for example?
Like things that have like negative consequences. We can see things that have pro-social positive consequences and anti-social negative consequences. And from there, that's how you judge sort of like a moral system, like by its consequences, by its degrees of harm, things like that.
Okay. All right. Well, in some cultures, or at least even in ancient times, that there are societies that did a lot of different human sacrifices, and not just animal sacrifices, but human sacrifices. Some people were willing to go ahead and offer themselves up as sacrifices, even though that would cause a level of harm. Into their morality of that time, it was, acceptable. I mean, but today's morality, that would, obviously not be acceptable. Does that objective that you just described apply?
Yeah, they're the objective the objective like observations we saw, just like how you said, how it led to death on a massive scale. So like that would be a negative consequence.
Right, from us, right, from a perspective from us, but from them, they were doing it freely.
They're doing it freely, yeah.
So to them, it wasn't an objective harm. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm just trying to extrapolate from someone who doesn't believe in God, like where they base their morality from. Is it?
Yeah,
in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
5 to 10 years, culture and society can change.
Yeah, of course. Mine are based on empathy, degrees of harm, equality, and things like that.
Okay. Okay. Now, when it comes to certain things that we can't necessarily prove, right? In an objective sense. So I know this is kind of segueing into a different topic, but the whole transgender ideology, and how people self-identify subjectively. There are certain parts of of the political spectrum that say, we should be, we are told to address individuals based off of their preferred pronouns or identify them as the thing in which what they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you can't, by definition, prove something that is subjective, just by definition.
Mm-hmm.
You get where I'm kind of going with this here. Is it prudent on us who do believe in objective morality and objective essence? What do you believe about the misgendering, quote unquote, of individuals who identify with a certain gender? Is that what do you feel about that?
If you misgender someone by mistake, right? I think most people are completely understand that you will misgender someone on accident. Trans folks, allies, anybody will understand that if you misgender someone, it's completely understandable. Now, when you're doing it deliberately, now you're causing harm because now you're denying that person's complete identity. Like, for example, your name is Mike, right?
Right.
If every single day I called you Stacy instead, you're going to get pretty fucking pissed with me because you're not Stacy, you're Mike. You see what I'm saying? So it's, even though Mike is a subjective name, it's still yours. It's part of you. It's part of your identity. So if I'm just always calling you Stacy instead of calling you Mike, you're gonna have a problem with me. You know what I mean? So and not only that, you can even make a case of harassment against me. It's the same thing with transgender people. If it's a mistake, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I think people understand mistakes, but deliberately misgendering them, deliberately mislabeling them, that's the issue there. I think that's where they come from. When it comes to being transgender, it is their own internal experience, but you can according to like psychology and psychiatry, this is an objective thing happening, right? Just like being homosexual, it's an objective part of who they are that they cannot change. So it's not really something that just trying to dress up one day to do it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I understand that perspective, that angle, I guess. But I mean, can one's self-identity or even perception of things, can it be objectively be incorrect? Just like if someone's colorblind, I mean, to their reality, the color red might to them be color brown.
Mm-hmm.
But just because they see the color brown doesn't mean that object is indeed brown. Yes, to their own reality, and what the perception is to them, it is true that it is brown. But objectively, it is not. And there can be, through scientific method, through tests, you can prove that. But what you can't really prove is someone's subjective feelings on a particular stance. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We can't prove anyone's subjective feelings, right? You can't prove other than me just saying so that I like the new J. Cole album, right? So there's no way to objectively prove that I like it because I say so. You would just have to take my word for it,
right?
Or you have to see me, playing the album every single day or something like that, and me just telling you that I like it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing that we can do. But when it comes to things like being transgender, if I'm not mistaken, there is neuroplasticity and neurochemicals that a neurochemical basis for gender identity. I think there's some studies in neurology that show it. There's not a lot because transgender people are not a big part of our population, so there's not a lot of research on it yet. But the small amount of research that we do have is that we do see that it's something that does happen internally in their. It's something that happens internally, and it has an effect on there's a actual brain thing happening there. It's not just something that they're just choosing to do.
And I completely understand that. just like with the person who's colorblind, for example, there are definitely reasons as to why that experience can be proven to be their experience. But it doesn't mean that I'm obligated to call that object the color brown when it's really red, or just because you like a particular album and to you subjectively think it's the best, doesn't mean that I have to also say that it's the best album.
Right. You don't have to agree with my opinion. And the person who's colorblind, if they're seeing brown and something is red, you don't have to say that it's brown. You can correct them and say that it's red. But that's not really analogous to what being transgender is.
No, I mean it's not a direct analogous, but it's kind of hard, obviously, to come up with similar examples. Mm-hmm. I guess my point is that just because you can scientifically prove whether one person is male or a person is female, mm-hmm. but if one is asserting who was born a male is not, how do you prove that is the case? How do you prove that their subjective perception is true in order for others to believe objectively that that's the case? You know what I mean? It's
yeah. So
you can't really prove it.
Right. So no, you can, because sex and gender are not the same thing. So like they won't deny that they're that they're male. What transgender women say is that they're women because of their internal sense of self, which you can show through, like, again, things like neuroplasticity and neurochemicals and things like that. But also that term women is not just something that's just a biological chromosomal like thing, right? The term woman is used socially, is not just used in biology. So that's why they're separate. Transgender women will tell you that they're male, but their gender identity is woman. Same thing with transgender men. They'll tell you that, yeah, we're female, but their gender identity aligns with men. Because those two things are different. Those are different concepts.
Yeah, I guess there's just a difference in definition there. For the longest time, the word woman was defined as an adult
human
female, just as the word girl is a female, but it's essentially a gender, because a girl is different than a woman by definition. And so if it is a gender, could an older trans woman identify as a trans girl? Like how do you really prove?
Well, girl and boy are used for children, while women and men are used for adults. That's just the way. That's the way that we do it, right? Like age is something that is not really an eternal sense of self. Like it's based on the sun, essentially. You know what I mean? So it's not really an eternal sense of self. But for a long time,
it can be. It can be. I mean, there are a lot of people that feel younger. They might not identify as a younger age per se, or at least not yet. But there are some people who are older that definitely feel younger, and there are a lot of young people, and there are reasons for that, why they may feel older, but we're not necessarily changing the age.
Right. So that feeling younger is
slippery slope.
No, exactly. Feeling younger is all good and well, right? You can feel younger, but like you still grow, right? Your age, you age every year. I mean, that's not something that you can really stop. So that's based on like your what's that thing called again? The genes.
There are objective, right? There are objective things to prove that. Correct?
So then there's proof it, exactly. But gender can't be
exactly.
But gender is not something that's objective, because gender is social, which is why we call it gender roles. So like gender is a social thing as well. It's not just a thing that's tied to your biology, Because if it was a thing that was tied to your chromosome or your biology, what do you call it to people with two X's and two Y's? You know what I mean? The moment you have that, it becomes blurry. And not only that, there are a lot more people with two X's and two Y's than we know about, because we don't test for chromosomes. So I could have two X's right now, not even know. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that you really can't go off of that. And then when it's when it comes to like gender, right? How does it move in the world socially? You know what I mean? Because like women are not just popping out babies, right? That's not their only function in our society. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So if we
of course, in society, no, I agree that there's an evolutionary grounds, and there's a societal ground which does ebbs and flows. But at least from the hard line evolutionary basis, biological basis, for a trans woman, someone who is born a male, they are, many of them, changing driver's license to state their sex as female. And I know that the whole bathroom debate, of course, and there are many other things that are layered, not just with the perception of being a woman, but also getting to the centric circle of female, which I think it doesn't really apply to the gender side of the argument, which is the social aspect. So you can definitely feel like you are female, and or a woman, and like things that most women like, dress the way most women dress, but to cross over into the other centric circle of female, now you're kind of blurring the lines with things that you can prove, as if who is an actual female versus male.
No, I agree with that, right? But like the thing is, when it comes to like the driver license thing, that's only really because like that's all in those states. That's what the license says. It doesn't say man or woman; it just says male, female. So that's the only choice. Like that's really
but they are not. But I'm saying that they are not objectively.
Right. I get that. I get that. I understand that they're not objectively a female. They're a male, and they will tell you the same thing. I get it. Is that on their licenses, once they change their name and everything and they say that they're a woman, some of these states don't have that language to change it to say woman and not female. That's just an issue that we have. That's just the laws didn't catch up yet. That's the only issue there. The laws didn't catch up. I think if it was an option of it to change to woman, then a lot of it would do that instead of just changing it to female, in my opinion. But that's just that's something that we have to deal with as a society to make sure that the laws catch up. But as far as the bathroom thing, then yeah, I'm not going to have beef with anybody who's not comfortable with it, right? Because these things happen really, really fast, and we're not used to it yet. So yeah, sure, folks are not going to be comfortable seeing someone with a beard go into the women's restroom. But what I think needs to happen is that, in my opinion, we're getting to a point where in our society we're kind of trying to check genitals, because there have been, masculine presenting lesbian women who were accused of being, males, and they're not. You see what I'm saying? So this entire bathroom issue, I'm not sure how to solve it, but I can say that the way we're going about it right now is not the right way, because because someone has already died from it. You know what I'm saying? She was accused of being transgender. She was not. And someone murdered her for quote unquote being a pervert. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you can't really tell from the outside who has a Johnson and who doesn't. You see what I'm saying? Because again, masculine presenting lesbian women are being harassed for going into the bathroom because people are thinking that they're men. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
Well, I'm not sure how to solve it. Yeah, I'm not sure how to solve. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure how to solve it. It's just that we're not going about it the right way.
I'm not okay with any harassment. I just feel that one of the reasons why in the first place there were bathrooms was because men, on average, on a bell curve, do harass women, sexually harass women. If you look at all, crime statistics, and yeah, like I said, I mentioned, on a curve, men are through biological, and I know you said we're just checking genitals, but it is a lot more than just genitals. There's bone density, there's testosterone levels, there's innate things that men have that are very different than women.
No, of course. Like, I don't think anyone denies that. No one denies that.
And I think one of the main reasons why there was a difference in restrooms was because if you didn't, you would be seeing most likely a higher spike in harassment, sexual harassment. I'm not accusing all men, of course, but just on average, men obviously commit a vast majority of harassment crimes.
Right. So
that's why there was a difference in bathrooms to begin with, and to so there's a lot of layers than just genitals.
These are concerns.
Crime statistics.
Yeah, these are concerns. I don't deny that these are concerns. I do get it, right? I just don't think the way that we're going about it is the right way. We need to have more discussion instead of reacting to everybody. You feel me? But hey, I do have other callers. They've been trying to call in for a while, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to get to them. But I do appreciate you. I appreciate the conversation.
I appreciate you, man. All right, have a good one.
All right, so everyone who calls in, I always text y'all and tell y'all that I'm going to call you back. All right, so you don't have to call in several times. Just check your text messages. I've already told you, like the person calling from 617, I've already texted you. I've already told you that I'm going to call you back. You got to be patient. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get to the next caller.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? 682 actually. Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Super King Anthony. I'm 41.
How you doing, Anthony?
I would love. Very good. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. How's it going?
Really good. You have a very interesting channel. I'm really enjoying the discourse between both sides. It's interesting, and I love thought exercises. I would say I can talk about where you're currently at with the gender debate. And probably do a better example for either side. The last caller you tried, or I can talk about Trump, or I can talk about God. So it's really your pick. How do you want to have a conversation?
Well, usually I let the caller pick whichever one you're most comfortable talking about. Then we could go ahead and talk about it.
Okay. I think my strongest two places are Trump and this gender debate, because I have a unique view on both of them.
Okay. Why should I support Trump?
Okay. So this is a very difficult and politicalized topic. And so for me, here's why. Right now, Right now, with what's going on in the world, we're pushing towards recession. We're pushing towards a slower economy, and we're falling off of the standard that we've had. What that matters is what America has historically done in the past is fought wars to bring the economy back up. And so where I state on that is that what's needed for America is somebody that's actually going to start and make America's interests matter, where historically we have not. We've gone through an appeasement mode with a lot of different countries, and it's weakened our economy, and we're all feeling it today. And that's not a political side, left or right. What that is we need a strong man, someone who's going to stand for America's values and put America first, good or bad.
Okay, so when it comes to that, right? When it comes to America's interests, I understand that we have interests around the world, and we need to deal with other people, and we're gonna put our interests first. All that is good and well, right? That's not a problem for me. My issue is interventionism. right? We don't need to be in Venezuela just because Maduro doesn't fuck with us. That's stupid, right? So if Maduro wants to sell his oil to China, let him. We shouldn't be in there. Yeah, I mean, if Iran wants to sell their oil to Russia, go ahead and let them. I don't think any of that is any interest of ours. And we don't need to go around war profiteering off anybody who doesn't want to rock with Western hegemony. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing that every president before Trump has always done, and it has always led to bad results. Like, because when Obama toppled Gaddafi, that led to Libya being a disaster. You see what I'm saying? So, and that was done in the name of quote unquote American interests. So when it comes to right, exactly. So perpetual war, I don't think is in our interest. We're always doing that, and it never leads to a good result for the people there or for even Americans, because it polarizes us more, right? So that's what I would say. Now, when it comes to what Trump is doing, the only thing I can explain what Trump is doing is called haphazardism. He's just throwing anything at the board and making it chaotic, and therefore everyone's confused and not really sure what's happening or what's in our interest. Like with the whole tariff mess, you know what I'm saying? He put tariff on countries that not only we already had free trade with, but tariffs on countries that didn't even need to have tariffs on them in the first place, because that was literally their only export to America. So there was no need for us to tariff them or anything like that. It's ridiculous. You see what I'm saying? So it's when we're talking about American interest, I get American interest in doing things that are going to be good for Americans, right? And the things I would say that would be, thanks for having mustache, y'all. The things that I say would be good for Americans is actually policies, domestic policies that would benefit the American people. Things like universal health care, investing into renewable energy, so investing into like public transportation, stuff like that. Those would benefit American citizens. Go ahead.
Okay, you brought up a couple different points, but the one that really stood out to me was universal health care. I would say name a country in which it works.
France.
And then you're going to go with the northern countries that all have it, and they go to school for free, and it's great there. Except that all those are the same countries that are propped up by the American dollar.
France
isn't. The same countries that have been living off of our substance for decades.
France doesn't.
What was it?
France.
France does. I can name. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up all their subsidies. Not just with war. We went and fought their war in Vietnam. We went and fought with them in their interest in Africa. We went and sent them billions of dollars. I'll pull up the statistic, but France definitely does.
Okay, France is a high income nation. It when I looked this up, it says that we provide foreign aid to several countries, but France isn't one of them. France gets EU subsidies.
And where does the EU get it from?
EU gets it from their own trade and stuff like that. They don't get it from us.
Look, well, yes and no. Look, the UN, which is mainly the EU, is going under without the US propping it up.
The UN is not the EU, bro. The UN is all. The UN doesn't. The UN is all of us.
That was a stretch. Give me 1 second while I pull up France's specific subsidies. But for a long time, we have subsidized them.
Yeah, we subsidized them
militarily.
Yeah, we subsidized them after World War II, but that ended like decades ago, bro. That already ended.
Not just there. We subsidized them with our military, like I was starting to say, with NATO, which is what I was getting to with the UN. We subsidized them, like we provide our nuclear umbrella deterrent against their enemies. And that would include Syria, that would include Iran, that would include, I wouldn't say Iraq, but that would include at least those two.
Bro, France has nukes.
The
So how are we?
Plan, global dollar, the petrodollar.
Hold on, wait. Hold on, slow down. France already has nukes, and the petrodollar is something that all countries use to trade in oil. So, are you saying that we're subsidizing the entire? But wait, are you saying that we're subsidizing the entire world at that point? Because everyone uses petrodollars.
Well, no, yes and no. There's countries China didn't trade in. China just did a deal where they didn't trade in the American dollar. I'm just using it as one example in which the America props up other countries.
But we're not propping
there
up
are
France, bro.
Energy. Okay, how did they get their nuclear energy? 70% of what they got of their nuclear energy
Comes from
infrastructure
Africa.
came from America.
No, it came from Africa.
I'm looking at the stats right here.
All their uranium comes from Africa.
Oh yeah, correct. Okay, so where the mineral comes from, sure. Most minerals in the world come from Africa, come from China, come from a handful of nations like that. What I'm saying is the infrastructure, the scientists, and the propping up, all the funds, those all came, 70% of it in France came from the United States.
Hold on, 70% of French scientists came from the United States?
That's not what I said. I said 70% of the nuclear program was supported in France, was supported and propped up by America. I just named it. The technology, the scientists, and actual physical dollars.
Oh, so we gave them, we invested into their nuclear program.
Yep.
Oh, and yeah, cool.
Well, you named one country and said where socialism, where universal health care is working, but it's still being, and my original point was, is that this is a nation that's being propped up by the United States.
But
all these countries that work are being propped up by the United States.
But the thing is, France is not being propped up by the United States. They have one of the largest economy in the world, bro. Like, tourism, exports, all of that is what props up France. It's not America giving them nuclear technology that all of a sudden now they can have universal health care. That's not how that works. They still have to fund it through their own taxation system. And we're not just
straw man argument. You're dissembling the fact. Hold on.
Wait, hold on. Let me just finish. When we're talking about their universal healthcare program, you can't say that we're propping up France because we gave them a whole bunch of nuclear weapons, et cetera, et cetera. It's not really how that works. Or we're not funding France. France gets to funds its own universal healthcare system through their own taxes. Unless you can show that America investment into France is what holds up their entire tax base, that's a completely different thing, which would be crazy, right? We don't do that. Like they're funding their own thing.
That's a straw man argument. You're taking one part of my argument and giving an example where a separate example and saying because this is not true here, it can't be true universally. That's dissembling the words that I'm saying.
Okay. So hold on.
Can I finish?
All right, but I'm just trying to understand what you mean.
Go ahead.
When you say that we're
I can explain it.
Right. When you say that we're propping up France, the one of the examples that you gave is their nuclear program. That doesn't prop up their economy. So how are we propping up France? That's what I'm trying to ask.
We've given them billions of dollars.
Right, decades ago during World War II. That's it.
That ended just during the World War
ended
II.
years ago.
One example. The Marshall Plan is one example. That's the one you're referencing. That is not the only time we prop up France. I can cite the source if you'd like. Visual calculus, 60%. Oh, I'm sorry, wait, that's a bad one. Now it just talks about NATO again. But we're talking about specifically about, so you've dissembled the comment. What I'm saying is all the places in which universal health care works are all places that are benefiting from Americanism. They're benefiting from American economy. They're benefiting from American trade. They're benefiting from being propped up. You asked for specific examples, and the specific examples I said was financial aid, was the nuclear program, where 70% of it came from the United States, and and the petrodollar. I've named a couple different ways in which America has helped France.
Okay. Hold on. That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying to you though. The petrodollar is not propping up France. Like France doesn't make money through the petrodollar, and the nuclear program. The nuclear program, is something that just gives them nukes. That's not propping up their economy, and anything
that's how they have power. That's not their. That's you're
right.
talking to two different.
I understand. Right. Okay.
Militarily, we've protected them for decades.
But they have their own nukes and they have their own military. They're the ones who's been like what Africa is to France is what we are to the Middle East. They're always there. They have one of the most powerful militaries in the world. You know what I'm saying? But like, I understand that a lot of that comes from like America's military industrial complex. I do get that part. But when it comes to
my point.
I get that. Yeah. But when it comes to their actual economy, which is where they get their which is how they're able to do universal health care, that's not America's doing. That's their own economy. Are you saying that we're propping up their economy?
No, I'm not saying they're propping up their economy. I'm saying that in order for them to have a strong economy, they have to have energy. The energy, that's where the petrodollar comes in. That's where I'm saying what the nuclear program comes in. Is in order to have that energy, they have to have a source for it. And all those sources trace back to America.
No, it traces back to Africa because without the uranium, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Look, I would not disagree with your point that the raw materials come from Africa and that Africa has a significant importance in the world trade or in how minerals come out into the world. I would completely agree with that point. That's not an argument I can make. But you can't dismiss the fact that Americanism benefits any country in the world that has modern anything, even the ones that don't. America has a hand in propping up or taking down the entire world. And I get your point where you don't agree with the fact that we take down leaders that are not in agreement or not working with the program, right? Like, I agree with that. I understand that. But to say that America is not propping up the entire world is nonsense. You can look at any country that has universal health care, any country that has a higher way of life or a better way of life, and you can see that American intervention has been involved in some way to help their country become better or secure or whatever.
But what I'm saying is that most of these countries that we're going to be talking about, right? They benefit from American trade, but we also benefit from trade with them. That's number one. Yeah. So if we're benefiting from each other's trade, how is it because of America they're able to do what they do? Like that part doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so that is a more complex question than where we've been before. So in a lot of ways, a lot of countries, it benefits both ways. Definitely, you can't say that trade is one-sided. In which I'll try to answer this. In ways that this benefits other countries is the USA. We spend trillions of dollars every year propping countries up. And one, I would say, if I was you, I'd make the argument that the USA is another form of subversion and another form of intervention. But I'm still going to stand to the point that money does filter around to the economy and does help all of these countries around the world.
I don't disagree that USA helps countries around the world. What I'm disagreeing is that these European countries would not be able to have universal health care if America didn't give them money and protection. Like, because like the thing is, like especially the countries in Europe, these are all some of the top economies on the planet, and it's through their economy they're able to. Ukraine? What about
Ukraine had the number 3 largest agriculture for wheat in the entire world.
Correct.
Without a strong army, Russia came in and took a third of their country. Not a third, it's like a fifth. Mm-hmm. Without a strong army or without strong intervention, strong countries just take you. Like
right, of course. No, right. Right, of course. And Russia wasn't even able to steamroll them even before intervention because Russia just has bad logistics. But what I'm trying to say is that like this seems like very, very simplistic, that just because America gave like military technology to these countries, therefore that's why they're able to do universal health care. That doesn't make any sense to me, because then how will we
facet of it?
Because then how will we explain China?
That's a great question. So China is actually you bring up China, but China was originally propped again by the United States. China was conquered by Japan during the Sino Wars. I forget what the second part of it is. Sino-Japanese
War. Yeah,
correct. And that was America that came in and literally attacked Japan, and that's how China was able to. The People's Liberation Party was able to conquer the rest of their nation. At that point, Mao was still a guerrilla fighter, and American money, American guns are what propped him up to make China what they are today. And China's number one trading partner, I don't know if that's still current, but one of China's China's top trading partners, and everyone in the world's top trading partner
is the United States. Yeah, exactly. But
again, Americanism affects everybody.
But the thing is, when it comes to Mao's China, first they stopped the Civil War to deal with Japan, but when Japan got defeated, they went back into civil war. You said that it was. I don't think it was American weapons that helped out Mao. I think it was just the peasant uprising that really helped them out. But like when it comes to
are true.
Yeah. So when it comes to that, right? What I'm saying is that, yeah, sure, China was able to become. China was able to become what it become because it opened up itself to trade. That's how it became what it became. Everybody agrees with that, right?
Labor.
Yeah,
I
we
would
can
agree
say
with
that too.
but I would also.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that too. Yeah. But so yeah, so that's how it was able to become what it become. But what I'm saying is that China's entire economy. If we're going to say that China's economy depends on the United States, we'll have to also say that the United States economy depends on China, since we're each number one,
100%.
each other's number one trading partner.
Agree.
All right. So if that's the case, then we'll be able to do universal health care ourselves then too as well.
Look, we could if our politicians actually cared about our people.
Right. So we agree there.
Yeah, with you. Like, look, it would not be that difficult if corruption wasn't as big of a factor as it is. If grafting wasn't as big a factor as it is. Just look at what, like it or don't like it. Look what Elon Musk dug out and got kicked out of it for exposing all the grafting, all the money going to fucking insiders. Pardon my language. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Yo, well, we are at the end of our 15 minutes, so I got to go ahead and move on to the next caller, but I do appreciate you, all right?
Pleasure. Bro, pleasure to have this discussion with you. It was great to have this discourse and have the intellectual exercise. I really appreciate it.
Gotcha. Not a problem. Appreciate you. All right, guys, I've been on for 2 hours, and I told my lady that I'm only going to be on for an hour and a half. I am going to get out of here, man. I wish I could get to the next callers, but I'm going to have to call y'all to tomorrow. Come back on tomorrow, all right? But I do appreciate y'all. I'm going to have to get out of here. I have a little bit of a headache. I need to take a nap, and I'm going to come back and do my homework later. Call line is now closed, all right? Call line is closed. Sorry I didn't get to everybody else, but I do appreciate y'all for being here. If you're watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition, I appreciate you. You should have called in. If you're watching me over on the Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate you there as well. And if you're over watching me on my channel, Volcy Thoughts, I do appreciate you there as well. Please come back in tomorrow so we can have more of these discussions. You guys are wonderful. I appreciate y'all. And as I always end these lives, every man should be soft, which means be secure, be affectionate,